So you want to dive into the world of user experience design, but you're just not sure where to start? Well, today we are mapping out the entire journey, and we're going to be using one of the most powerful tools in the industry, Figma. We're going to take you from a total beginner and turn you into a design pro. Let's get right into it. This right here, this is our mission. We're going to break down exactly what you need to do to go from a Figma zero to a Figma hero, someone who can confidently design and build beautiful, functional prototypes. It's a real transformation and, will be your guide every single step of the way. And we're going to frame this whole thing as a classic hero's journey. Why? Because learning this stuff isn't just about learning software. It's a real quest to gain new skills, a whole new mindset, and ultimately, a new way to create amazing things. Every hero's journey has to start with understanding the tools of the trade, right? Before we can build anything, we need to know what we're working with. So what is Figma really, and what's this whole UI versus UX thing you hear about all the time? Let's clear that up. Okay, at its core, Figma is all about rapid prototyping. That's the key phrase to remember. It lets you build something that looks and feels just like a real website or a real app, so you can test your ideas with actual users before a single line of code gets written. It's all about speed and getting that crucial feedback early on. And this is a big one. Let's clear up a huge misconception. Figma creates an interactive blueprint. Think of it as a perfect visual guide for developers to follow. It shows them all the right spacing, the colors, the assets, everything. But it doesn't magically write the code for you. That's a whole separate and very crucial step. And here we have the two sides of the design coin. UI, or user interface, that's the paint job. It's the colors, the fonts, the style, how it looks. But UX, the user experience, well, that's the engine. It's all about how the thing actually works. Is it easy to navigate? Does it make sense to the user? This quote comes from a real-world example about a banking app. And it's perfect. The app looked absolutely stunning, amazing UI, but doing simple things like editing a payment was just infuriatingly difficult. Turns out you had to click the person's name to edit the payment details, and there was zero visual clues for that. That right there is the perfect example of a beautiful UI hiding a terrible UX. All right, we get the tools, we get the world. Now it is time to accept our first quest. This is where the theory stops and the real, practical work begins. We're going to start with a project brief, a user persona, and a task map. First up, let's meet our persona, Sarah. A persona is basically a fictional character that represents your target user. Now, why do we create Sarah? Because she stops us from designing for ourselves. She becomes our North Star. Every single decision, from colors to button text, is made with her in mind. We're constantly asking, what would Sarah want? What does Sarah need? With Sarah as our guide, this is our map. A task flow is the simple, ideal path, what we sometimes call the happy path, that we want our user to take. In this case, it's a standard e-commerce journey, from the homepage to checking out product features, going through checkout, and finally getting that confirmation. This simple four-step process makes our whole quest feel totally achievable. So this is a super important point, understanding the difference between a task flow and a user flow. Our task flow, that's one simple, straight line. A user flow, on the other hand, is way more complex. It actually accounts for choices. What if the user doesn't use the search bar? What if they browse categories instead? A user flow maps out all those different potential pathways a person might take. And now we've arrived at the training montage of our hero's journey. This is where we take our brief, our persona, and start actually forging them into a real design, mastering the core skills of Figma as we go. The path here is a really clear three-step progression. We start with lo-fi wireframes, just simple gray boxes to map out the basic structure. Then we level up to hi-fi, adding colors, real text, and images to make it look legit. And the final step? We turn that beautiful hi-fi design into a fully interactive prototype that users can actually click through and test. Along the way, you're going to master some of what the source calls scary terms. But trust me, they're not scary at all. Components let you reuse things like buttons, which saves you hours and keeps everything consistent. Constraints help your design adapt to different screen sizes. And plugins, they're like little superpowers that just speed up your workflow. These are the tools that really turn you into a pro. Okay, the training montage is over. You know the path, you have the tools.
Now it's time to take everything we've learned and embark on your very own unique quest. This is the call to action for every single aspiring Figma hero out there.
So, how do you start? The source material gives us a fantastic tool, randomprojectgenerator.com. It'll spit out a unique company and persona for you to design for. But the most important step here is number 3. Do not hit the retry button. Seriously. Tackling a tricky or weird brief is what builds real skill and makes your portfolio stand out from everyone else's. And this is the treasure at the end of your quest. You won't just have theory rattling around in your head. You'll have a real, unique project for your portfolio and the kind of confidence that only comes from building something from scratch. You'll walk away with the actual skills of a professional UX designer.
So there it is. We've laid out the entire map, from the very first step of understanding the tools to the final goal of a professional portfolio piece. The path from zero to hero is totally clear. The only question left is, are you ready to start your journey?